Hi guys, JA English Coach here.
And today we're going to be talking all about
Confusing words in English. Now this has been a highly requested topic, so guess what? Stick around if this is something that you are interested in knowing about.
All right, and remember guys to like, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe.
And hit that bell so you can be notified each and every time that we make a post.
So let's get started. Cue the intro. All right, so the first word that I know persons tend to confuse a lot is the word compliment. So you actually have compliment with an E and compliment with an I. So I'm going to go through compliment with an E for you, which is actually pronounced compliment, but it kind of still sounds like the I, right? All right, so all this means is that one thing or something in general goes well with something else. So for example, I could tell Deandra that this blouse complements her shoes. That just means that they go well together. It's a purple blouse, it's a purple shoes. It goes well together.
Or nude shoes. Yes. And for compliment with the I, this means that you tell someone that you admire something about them. So for Manifa, I could tell her that I love her hoop earrings. They're pretty nice. Yeah.
Now the next one is sympathy and empathy. So what sympathy means is just feeling sorry for someone based on a situation, right? So for example, I could say, oh, Tom always sympathizes with the homeless. It just means Tom usually kind of feels a little hurt or a little sad about the homeless people. But Tom hasn't necessarily been homeless before, right? He just feels it for them.
Perfect. Empathy, on the other hand, has to do with sharing feelings based on a similar situation that you've been in. So it's all about understanding and showing that person that you care, right? So I could tell Manifa that I empathize with her because she's now going through some form of disappointment, and I've been down that road before, right? So sympathy and empathy, it all depends on whether you've been in the situation before or not. So if I haven't been in the situation, then I would sympathize with someone who is going through a situation that is not so ideal. Where on the other hand, I would empathize if it's a case where I have been through something similar that caused me some form of distress. I hope that kind of give you a better understanding of where sympathy and empathy are. Exactly.
So the next one is persistent and consistent. So what persistent means is just to be firm in your decision or your opinion on something despite or even though you might have a lot of challenges that might face you. So for example, Tom is so persistent, he believes that he must get an A on his exams. That just means Tom is going to study. Even if there was an emergency, Tom would still be studying for that exam. So he's persistent. He wants to make sure that he gets an A. So that's persistent.
Right. Consistent, on the other hand, speaks about doing something the same way over time. And I could probably use the same example that Manifa did with Tom, because what Tom will need to do in order to ensure that he gets that A is to probably create a schedule and be consistent with it. So he's going to do probably study math at a certain time in the day, probably study English at a certain time in the day, probably study social studies at a certain time in the day. So if he does that on a consistent basis, then he'll be able to get the results that he needs. And our goal for this channel is to ensure that we are consistently providing you with content that is going to help you to be a lot more fluent and confident while speaking English.
Right. So the main thing to remember to give you the difference between the two is that once it's persistency, that means that there's some kind of challenge or force going against you. With consistency, it's just to keep doing something over time. All right?
Perfect. Okay, so the next two words that we'll be looking at are inspire and aspire. Now, if you ask me, this one took some time for us to figure out how to bring it across to you guys. So let's see if we do it justice. Okay, so inspire This has to do with how you make someone feel in order for them to start an action. Most times it has to do with creativity. So I could possibly say that I'm inspired by the charity work that Michelle Obama does.
While aspire, it just means what you wish or hope to achieve. So for example, I could say, I aspire to be a great teacher, right? That's a perfect example of how you could use aspire. So that's why most times you will hear people say, oh, they have big dreams and aspirations.
Perfect.
Because they are actually looking towards achieving something in the future. So let us know, what are some of your aspirations, or what do you aspire as it relates to learning English? Let us know in the comment section below.
Also, what is it that you would say are your inspirations? What motivates you? Keep those comments going.
Let's see them.
So the other words that we're going to look at are principal and principle. So principal, this one has a lot of different meanings. It could be that original amount that you invest when you're doing an investment. Money, money, money. It can also be the most important thing in a category or a given situation. As well as here in Jamaica, when someone is the head of the school, we call them the principal.
Well, principles are really just the belief systems that you live by. These are your truths, right? But the thing with principles is each person has their own principle, to be honest. So what might be one person's might not necessarily be another person's. However, there are general ones that we tend to live by based off society's norms and standards. So an example I could give you is that I am very big on principles that I stand for. Can you give me an example of principle?
Definitely. So an example of principle, so I could say that the principle that I invested in my Bitcoin account is $20,000.
There you go. All right, guys, so the last ones that we're going to be looking at will be good and exceptional. Now, we're looking at good in terms of just something of high quality. So, for example, I could say I'm wearing a good watch. Sorry, there's no watch on my hand, but she's wearing a good watch, right? So you get the idea. So good in that context just means high quality. There are other meanings for good, but just to get the understanding of the difference between good and exceptional, we're going to use that example.
Right, because exceptional now just simply means it's something beyond what is normal, right? So something can be exceptionally good as well as it can be exceptionally bad. Right, so but if I'm being very honest, most times the word exceptional is linked to something positive, right? So at work, I could possibly say to my agent that you're doing an exceptional job. Good job. So those are the confusing words that we thought about to help you guys better understand the difference between them. However, we'd love for you to go in the comment section, tell us something or some words that you aren't too clear on, and we could either think of doing a video on it or we could communicate with you guys in the comment section.
Right, and definitely, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and as Deandra said, to comment below any other information or any questions, queries that you might have. Also remember, with JA English Coach, our goal is to make sure that you are super confident while learning English. So remember, if it is that you guys are interested in booking a lesson with us, remember to follow us on all socials and reach out to us. All the links are in the description box below. So of course, we hope you guys enjoyed.
What are you waiting on?
See you in the next video. We're out. Drop the mic.